Now, here are your hosts, Hank Davis and Mello Betts.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of Mello's NFL Weekly. I'm your host, former professional athlete Hank Davis. This is week 3 of Season 7, and you're tuned in to Tiger Prince Entertainment. Joining me on the line, he's our resident professor of sports and the gambling guru himself. He's Mello Betts. How are you, Mello?
Smile! Get your chin up. Come on now, boy. I'm doing good, yes, sir.
Hey, John L. Mello. John L. Mello, you went to college. You went to Arkansas.
Yes, I did. Arkansas, yeah.
Epic.
Won't be there much longer, though, no.
No. I'm thinking they were sitting there like, mistake. This was a mistake. I don't know if it's any clearer to anybody else, but this was a mistake. Mello, you ready for some news?
I'm ready for good news, bad news, and anything in between.
It's time for the news, a roundup of all the biggest headlines.
Many players around the league have said that the Detroit Lions defensive tackle Ndamukong Suh plays dirty after the whistle and tries to hurt people. But according to the San Francisco 49ers, Suh isn't the only problem. I think it was key for our front offensive line to handle them because they like to be cheap after the play, and they think that makes them physical. And that's what tackle Joe Staley said after the Lions-49ers game. Vernon Davis had to sit out briefly at one point during the Niners win after being poked in the eye. And he says he's not sure if the poke to the eye was intentional or an accident. I got poked in the eyes, Davis said. Since I got poked, I had to sit down. I don't know if it was intentional, by Cliff Averill. I am just not sure. Mello, I think you and I both are sure that it was intentional, right?
They want to be impact players. That's the way to make an impact on somebody.
Impact on your cornea?
Yeah.
Mello, we've talked about this plenty of times. Is this just the new culture and we're just going to have to get comfortable with it, that Detroit is just one of the dirtiest teams out there?
I think so. I think that's just a fact. They coach them up, play hard. But if you look at the coaching tree and where he descends from, I mean, the proof's kind of in the pudding, isn't it? Wasn't Tennessee play to the last echoes of the whistle type defense when Fisher was there? And this is this guy.
Play through the tunnel. You got an owner that flips people off. You might be in trouble. If the Detroit Lions are not the dirtiest team in football, who is the dirtiest team in football?
I think you got to go by how many penalties the team gets.
Easy. That's not always a good barometer.
And there's only one team that can lay claim to that throne.
My Oakland Raiders.
You think Oakland Raiders.
For being dirty, wouldn't that amount to some kind of victories or something? Please.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you get so caught up in keeping to the dirty penalty title that you lose track of the W's and the whole thing. I think Baltimore and Pittsburgh, they play hard, but they've got some people that are been known to be a little questionable. James Harrison for Pittsburgh. People think he's dirty.
Chin check. Carolina Panthers receiver Steve Smith says he, quote, lit into Cam Newton after his actions on the sideline when the young quarterback was replaced late in the fourth quarter of Thursday night's 36-7 blowout loss to the Giants. Smith said he was upset when Newton was on the sideline sitting and sulking on the bench instead of getting up to watch backup Derek Anderson and trying to learn from his own mistakes. Mello, will this cause any kind of riff in your estimation with the Carolina Panthers?
I don't think so. If it was a lower profile guy saying this, and doing that, maybe. But Steve Smith has been their main guy for a long time now, so he's got the authority. And he's right, too. You should support your backup and not be childish like that.
Even if you're just having a tough night?
I think you're still trying to get better, so you're still trying to learn. I think that's a key opportunity to learn is when you're watching from the sideline, seeing how the other guy's trying to do it.
Did we talk about Jim Brown and the Cleveland Browns last week at all?
No.
Okay, because they're going to try to make amends here. So the Hall of Fame running back, Jim Brown, he plans to take part in an alumni event this weekend when the Browns host the Buffalo Bills. So it'll be Brown's first time at Cleveland Brown Stadium in more than 2 years, because he's been at odds with the club since team president Mike Holmgren removed him from his role as an advisor to owner Randy Lerner.
Oh.
So, oh boy, this is just in time to have this event. But some of these grudges, now we know, Favre and Green Bay, there's a little bit of animosity there too. But what do you have to say about some of these grudges that, maybe players are holding, or organizations in some cases?
I think you just should let it go, really.
Is there any reason why you would think somebody would be justified in staying away from an organization?
I guess if it ended really badly, they kicked you out or something, maybe you could do that. But I mean, in Favre's case, it was I don't know whether I want to play or not. I'm retired. I'm not retired. So eventually a team has to move on. You can't hold them hostage like that. But other than that, no, I don't really see any reason.
So I think this is a good thing. Jim Brown, throughout his career and then a lot of incidents post-career, just speaking his mind, and sometimes even things that are the truth. Sometimes you kind of just gotta, suck it up and take it on the chin sometimes.
Well, he's not politically correct, and I don't think he's getting there anytime too soon either.
I was trying to avoid saying all that, but yeah, that's exactly what it is. The NFL and its locked-out officials met twice this week, but remain far apart in settling their financial dispute.
Oh, brother.
Despite substantial discussion, significant and serious economic gaps remain, and no further talks are scheduled. Now, the regular officials have lost an average of more than $50,000 each so far. The average official made $150,000 last year for a 20-game season. They have missed 7 game assignments, including preseason. Yowza. Number one, I didn't think they made that much. And number two, that's really not a lot when you're talking about the NFL and its billions.
Yeah, it's just so. I mean, you want to keep jeopardizing the integrity of your product, go right ahead.
Plus or minus, Mello, week 10, regular season officials will be back, plus or minus.
It got to be. They got to be back by then or forget about it.
Okay. Or it'll be a done deal.
It'll be a done deal.
How come nobody's really throwing a tantrum about having replacement officials in a way that they would if this were replacement players? How come they're not? Because officials are a huge part of the game. You can't say they're not.
The players are. I mean, several players have voiced their opinion on this. They're not happy, and the coaches have been told not to say any more about it by the commissioner de facto supreme king.
The emperor. He will He's going to oversee the construction of the Death Star personally.
Oh, my word.
Nice. But it just seems like if fans just had one game and they just said, you know what, we're not watching. One game. That's our, I think the league would have to buckle.
I think you're right. I wasn't looking at it from that aspect. I was thinking about the coaches and players and stuff. But that's where it needs to come from, when the fans say, hey, this product isn't worth the price we're paying. That's when you could get them to actually do something. But I don't hear enough people. People just kind of settled into, we got replacement officials. There's nothing we can do about it. We just got to keep watching.
I think for the average fan, I think they just see somebody out there in stripes and they go, that should be good enough.
Yeah.
He's got stripes on. A number of mixed opinions have surfaced since Greg Schiano told his Bucs to play hard until the final whistle against the Giants last Sunday. Tom Coughlin was the most upset about it, and Justin Tuck, he wasn't too far behind. Now, Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys, the owner of the Cowboys, he thinks that the kneel-down play should be eliminated altogether. But let's leave it to Pete Carroll to add fuel to the fire. During his press conference on Thursday, the Seahawks head coach praised Schiano for the approach. I'm glad it was brought up like this because I think it was a competitor competing, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that, Carol said. Oh, my goodness. So you got all these different takes. Mello, where do you stand on this?
I was with Coughlin, and he gave him a good going over, and I didn't blame him either. This has been around for a long time. There's a reason that this play is like that, and I heard that they still had a timeout. So if you're playing, to win and all that, then they should have burned that timeout to show that how serious they were. But that's that college rah-rah bullcrap. No place for that in the NFL. I can see where Pete Carroll would go along with it because he believes in that college rah-rah crap.
So if you have the ball and you don't want to run a play because you don't want to fumble, you're saying the onus is on me and my team to call off the dogs and not try to jar that ball loose?
I'm saying if the offensive line goes up to the line like these guys did and said, we're taking a knee, and you shoot at their knees, then you're asking for something bad to happen to you because I'd turn my guys loose.
Okay.
Really.
I think that kneel down play, I agree with Jerry Jones. It needs to go away because
they need to have some kind of counter then or something because it's the NFL. There's always loopholes to the rules. There's always a way to get around something.
Because personally, for me, if I'm on the defense, it's insulting. I would be insulted. Like, you don't want to run a play and you don't want to get touched. You run the ball, run some play, run a dive, get the fullback, bring in some backup players, secure that ball. But I should be able to try to get that ball up until that final whistle.
Well, under my offense, the defensive line is so demoralized from having the ball run down their throat all game that they just want the game over with.
They'd be begging for a knee. Okay, we'll agree to disagree.
Certainly.
And lastly, Time Warner Cable agreed to carry NFL Network on Friday. That's the last major holdout in the channel's long-running push into more homes. NFL Network and NFL Red Zone channel will be available for customers of Time Warner and Bright House Networks starting Sunday. Time Warner is the country's second largest cable provider with more than 12 million homes. Bright House, with about 2 million, is the sixth biggest. So I've never really fully got your take on the NFL Network in general, Mello. What are your thoughts about the league having their channel and then getting more and more games on these Thursday nights?
It's kind of ingenious. I hate the Thursday night game. I've never been a big fan of it, but I like the NFL Network. I thought that was a good idea from the get-go. It's just Thursday night game just doesn't do it for me.
Because to me, I thought for sure some of these other networks would cry foul and say, wow, you not only have the product, but now you have the rights to distribute.
I don't see, if it's your product, I don't see how they could stop you from having a right to distribute it, somewhat.
They can't stop you, but it just seems like there's, what do they say on the iPhone? There's an app for that. It seems like there's a channel for that, Yeah. There's NBC, there's ESPN, there's Fox, it just seems like you could make more money by not having to pay talent and all that jazz.
I just like that they have something that takes away from ESPN because I think that monster's just gotten a little out of control.
You mean the SEC, ESPN?
Yeah. With some of the ties that these things together are a little uncomfortable for me.
We're not biased.
No, not an East Coast bias on any sports either.
Mello, do you want? Are you ready for That's Not Football, Mello?
Oh, I'm always ready for That's Not Football.
One of the most significant issues with the NFL's replacement officials is that many of them are fans who have allegiances to specific teams. According to LaShawn McCoy, one of them also joked on Sunday about the fact that he plays fantasy football.
Oh.
They're like the fans. Kind of, McCoy said. One of the refs was talking about his fantasy team. Like, McCoy, come on. I need you for my fantasy.
Oh, my gosh.
Mello?
That is not football. That's not football.
Buffalo Bills defensive end Mario Williams has something new to crunch on other than opposing quarterbacks. Williams unveiled Mario's, a honey toasted oats cereal named after him. Mello?
That's not football, baby.
Pass the Marios. Yum. Hoping that catching a few extra Z's translates into better performance on the field, the New York Jets recently brought in sleep specialists to help the players get more rest. Mello?
Are you kidding me? That's not football.
And lastly, Twitter CEO Dick Costolo was asked who he would most like to see join his social networking service. And his answer? New England quarterback Tom Brady. Costolo not only admitted, I'm a big Tom Brady fan, but like the 3-time Super Bowl champion, he's also a Michigan alumnus, which has a lot to do with his fandom, Mello.
That's not football.
But you know a funny thing? If you get on Twitter and you look at Tom Brady's ego, it's actually a funny fake account, and it's hilarious.
Okay.
His ego has its own account.
As well it should, I guess.
Yeah. I have one story and shut up, Mello.
Okay.
This is where we usually like to tell people to shut up. Miami Dolphins general manager Jeff Ireland admits he muttered a profanity as he walked away from a fan after an unfriendly conversation at halftime of the team's most recent game. The fan approached Ireland, complained about the direction of the Dolphins, and told the GM he should fire himself. It caught me off guard. I just turned and walked away, but I did say something I regret.
Oh, I wonder what that was.
I thought I was saying it to myself under my breath, but I must have said it loud enough that he could hear it. How would you not just shut up? Because would you not know? Oh, I didn't know I said it out loud.
Not a good liar, Jeff. Not a good liar, baby.
Have you ever said something and been like, "Oh, was that out loud?" You know?
No, it really didn't work like that.
No, I'm pretty sure you know what you're saying. Forget you, is probably what he said.
Yep.
Are you ready for the most extensive rap sheet in history, Mel?
Woo, I guess. I don't know. Let me fluff up my pillow here.
Let me get a drink. Atlanta Falcons running back Michael Turner was jailed on charges of drunken driving and speeding early Tuesday, just hours after he scored a touchdown in the team's win over the Denver Broncos. So he was released on $2,100 bond.
In a hurry to get arrested, okay.
Yeah, he's pretty smart. Former NFL wide receiver Sam Hurd is moving closer to a deal to plead guilty in the federal drug distribution case against him. So remember, he had the intent to distribute 5 kilograms or more of cocaine charge. And that comes with a recommended sentence of 10 years in prison to life.
Ooh.
Former NFL wide receiver Chad Johnson has pleaded no contest to a domestic violence charge. So he must pay his ex-wife an unspecified restitution and undergo counseling. New York Giants safety Kenny Phillips has been fined $30,000 by the NFL for unnecessary roughness. However, no penalty flag was thrown on the play. Scab ref. Other Giants disciplined were running back Andre Brown, $15,750 for a horse collar tackle. David Boss, I think he's former Michigan man.
Yeah.
And Kevin Booth were fined $7,875 for unnecessary roughness at the end of the game when the Bucs plowed into the line as Eli Manning tried to take a knee.
Oh, boy.
Fined $21,000 were Steelers linebacker Lawrence Timmons for a helmet-to-helmet contact with Jets QB Mark Sanchez.
He's filling in for Harrison.
Chin check. Patriots linebacker Gerard Hold the Mayo for hitting defensive Arizona wide receiver Early Doucette. I thought they said talentless. In the head and neck area. And Bill safety Denoris Searcy for the same offense against Chiefs tight end Kevin Boss. Seattle receiver Golden Tate drew a $21,000 fine for an illegal blindside block on Dallas linebacker Sean Lee. That was a blow up, though, Mello. Goodness, he blew him up. Tampa Bay linebacker Mason Foster's hit on Dominic Hickson that resulted in a concussion for the Giants receiver cost Foster $21,000. Jet safety LaRon Landry said he will appeal his fine by the NFL of $15,750 for a horse collar tackle against Pittsburgh's Antonio Brown. Redskins wide receiver Josh Morgan was hit with a $7,875 fine for throwing the ball at Rams cornerback Cortland Finnegan. He should have threw everything at him. Also from that game, Washington linebacker Lorenzo Alexander was fined $15,750 for a horse collar tackle on receiver Danny Amendola. And Rams rookie cornerback, Janoris Jenkins got the same amount for unnecessary roughness against tight end Fred Davis. Also fined $15,750 was Dolphin safety Jimmy Wilson for a late hit on Oakland quarterback Carson Palmer. And lastly, New England safety Steve Gregory was docked $7,875 for a late hit on Cardinals tight end Todd Heap. He went down in a heap.
Oh, boy.
Oh, goodness. That's it for the rap sheet, finally.
Wow.
Man, NFL is paid. You just pay the refs off the rap sheet.
I'm telling you.
Wouldn't you just go ahead and do that? Come on.
Divert that money to them. Yeah, that'll cover it.
I'm with it.
It's steady income.
Mello, is it that time?
It is time to pick 'em.
It's time to pick 'em. Remember,
just said that.
picks are made for entertainment purposes only.
You just said that, right? Amazing. And something went wrong. There it goes. Sort of. Amazing. Technical difficulties. Oh my goodness. In the end, you're just ready to give up sometimes. It's amazing. All right, this week in audio editing, folks. All right, Mello. Without any further ado. Oh, goodness. Now, we both took the Giants on Thursday. Giants getting 2.5. That was ridiculous. That bookie is probably still on the run, Mello. All right. At Chicago, the Bears are going to lay 7.5 to the St. Louis Rams. I'm taking the Rams. The Rams play tough. I think Forte is not going to be in the lineup.
No Forte.
And that's not his forte. And, they've had some turmoil. So this has all the makings for them to have a blowout win against the Rams. But I don't think so. I think the Rams will keep it close. They're the team that keeps it close. Mello, who are you taking?
Yeah, I got the Rams as well. I don't know if how Chicago responds to the adversity from last week's fiasco. And remember, they're playing on that crappy, the worst field in all of the NFL, Chicago. So you should look for a close game here, I would think.
Excellent. All right. At Dallas, the Cowboys are going to lay 8 points to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I'm taking Tampa Bay, getting the 8 points. I think they're playing feisty, and I think they're going to do just enough to stay within range. Who you got?
Yeah, I got Tampa just because that's just too many points for me.
Amazing. All right. San Francisco will lay 6.5 on the road at Minnesota. I think San Francisco will lambaste them. Minnesota just doesn't score enough for my taste, and they just won't be able to match up, I don't think, on either side of the ball in the trenches. So go ahead, pencil me in for San Francisco. I think they win this one by 14 or more. Who are you taking?
Well, San Francisco has every advantage in this game, including quarterback, so that's the easy pick. That's why I'm taking Minnesota in the big upset special.
Oh, man. You get this one right, I'm buying you lunch.
The upset of the point spread. They're not going to win that game.
The Detroit Lions are going to lay 3.5 on the road at Tennessee. You know what? I think the Lions get this one. I think they win this game by a touchdown and make it happen. Who you got?
Yeah, they're due to beat somebody by some 3.5 is not much, and Tennessee's not very good. So I say, yeah, Detroit gets after them.
All right, at Washington, the Redskins and Bob Griffin, the third one of them. They're gonna lay 3 points for the third, and against Cincinnati. And I'm gonna take Washington. I think they're gonna go in there and take this game. I think they actually win this game pretty handily. Who you taking?
I had Washington, but they lost Carricker and Arakpo both for the season. That scares the crap out of me. I don't know what that's going to do to that defense. So I'm going to take Cincinnati in this one.
Okay. We'll have to watch that one. The New York Jets are going to lay 2.5 on the road at Miami. I think the Jets will win this game by more than 2.5 points easily. Miami showing signs of life, but it was only against the Raiders, so I guess that don't count. So I'm taking the Jets. Who you got?
Yeah, I think that was more of a fluke. I don't think you see that Miami team again this week. I think the Jets bounce back and look good this week, so I got the Jets to cover.
At New Orleans, the Saints go marching in. They're going to lay 8.5 to the visiting Kansas City Chiefs, and I think this is a game that's ripe for the picking, and I think the Saints cover the big spread. I think the Chiefs are reeling, and they will quit at the first sign of failure. Who you taking?
I'm going to go out on a limb. I got Kansas City winning the West, so that means they have to start doing something now. 8.5 points is not a lot for a New Orleans team that's not playing that well right now. I think New Orleans would be happy to get the win, but I think both teams are desperate, which will call for a closer game than that. There could be a big blowout. Breeze will do that to me sometimes, but I'm going to go with Kansas City one more time.
West to east? A little bit. Buffalo is going to be -3 on the road at Cleveland. I'm taking Buffalo -3. Cleveland's been playing tough and then knocking the snot out of some people a little bit here, but I'm going to take Buffalo. I have a good feeling about this game. Who are you taking?
Yeah, I would like to take Cleveland, but the 3's just not quite enough. Buffalo, more firepower. Give me Buffalo.
At Indianapolis, Andrew Luck and company are going to lay 3 to the visiting Jacksonville Jaguars. Go ahead, give me Jacksonville getting the 3 points. I think this will be a good, close game. A game that, might be a couple of teams that aren't so hot, but it might be fun to actually watch this one. Who are you taking?
Yeah, I think you're right on that. I think this is going to be a good game. I'm giving the slight edge to Indy, so I'm going to take Indy in this one.
Okay. Philadelphia is going to lay 3.5 on the road at Arizona. I just have this weird feeling that Philadelphia is going to go in there and put it all together this time and play pretty well. So I'm going to take Philadelphia just off a gut feeling. Who you taking?
I've got Arizona all day in this one. I am just not sold on Philadelphia. They're going up against a good defense, and and they're on the road too. I just don't think it fares well for Philly in this one. So I got Arizona in the points.
At San Diego, the Chargers are going to lay 3 to the visiting Atlanta Falcons. I'm rolling and riding high with Atlanta, so I am going to take Atlanta with the 3 points, and I think they're going to get this game. Who you got?
Yeah, I got Atlanta to win this game outright, but I'll take the 3 points.
Oh, it's time. It's Houston. The Houston Texans leave the comfort and the confines of Barbecue Sauce Stadium and lay 2 points on the road where the air gets thin at Denver. I'm taking Houston on the road. Put this on your calendars, folks. Hank Davis taking Houston on the road. I think they're going to get this one done. Who are you taking?
Hey, I haven't missed with Houston yet. I'm staying with them. I am sticking with Houston again this week, 3rd week in a row.
Awesome. Pittsburgh. The Pittsburgh Steelers are going to lay 4 points on the road at my Oakland Raiders. Man, I'm looking for any sign of life. 4 points is just not enough for me to take them. So I'm going to take Pittsburgh. I think they win this one by 6 or more. Who you got?
Yeah, Oakland hasn't. Maybe this will be the game that they put it together, but I'm not going to wait around on these guys. They've disappointed me so much already. I thought they were better than this. Maybe they'll show it this week, but I'm not going to gamble on them. I'm taking Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it seemed like they took a step back.
It does.
All right, at Baltimore, the Ravens are going to lay 2.5 to the visiting New England Patriots. I'm hoping this will be a good game, but I'm going to take Baltimore, even though they're laying points, and I don't really care for them when they're laying points. I'm going to take them. I think they've got enough defense and enough offensive firepower to handle New England. New England's not scaring teams anymore, so far anyway. But we'll see if they do something different this week. But I think the Ravens can win by 3 points or more. Who you got?
Yeah, the New England offensive line is just not playing that well. I think this is a bad matchup for them. Baltimore's going to come after Brady. They're going to want to hit him, and I think they're going to be able to. And that's not good when he starts getting hit. That's not good for the Patriots.
Not good for Twitter either.
I know.
And the Monday night game, the Green Bay Packers are going to lay 3 on the road at Seattle. Man, I think this is actually going to be a really fun game. And I'm going to take Green Bay, though, on the road on Monday night. I think they're going to be excited and ready to go. Who are you taking?
Yeah, I'd like to take Seattle, but 3 is just not enough. If the hook hadn't evaporated, I might have went with them, but I can't take them with just the 3. That's not enough.
I'm with you on that one. They need, for me to be tempted by this, it would have to be 5.5, 6 for me to be tempted. All right, Mello, that's it for the picks against the spread for week 3. As we call the show to a close, Mello, this week, are there any final thoughts you have?
I was looking at the numbers from last week. Home favorite 6-2-2. Home underdogs were 5-1. So I'm saying there's got to be a correction this week, and I would look at my bets and see where I'm at. I don't see where home favorites and just home teams in general are going to do that well because they got to correct that one. That upped the numbers to home favorites on the season are 11, 7-2. They'd want to get that back down. Home dogs 8-4. They want to get that down a little bit, and the road favorites and road dogs they're way under 500 right now. So I would think that's got to correct itself this week.
Because it all seems to balance out in the end, doesn't it?
It does, too. And I was looking at my records, and they really don't let it stray too far off course. That's why I'm calling for a correction this week.
Awesome. Good stuff, Mello. Anything else?
That's all I got, baby.
All right, folks, that's going to do it for this week's edition of Mello's NFL Weekly. We hope you enjoyed the show, and we hope you'll tune in every Saturday right here on TigerPrinceRadio.com. For Mello Bets, I'm Hank Davis. Until next time. We're signing off.